Hello everybody and welcome to episode 43 of the Train Sim News Show, which today is going to be a very special episode in that it's going to be an interview. Please please introduce yourself, interviewee.
Hello there, my name is Simon. Some people might know me as Cynx or Cynx's Workshop. So, I mainly create scenarios for Train Simulator, but I occasionally make other stuff, like patches such as the YPEG headlights for the 37, scenery such as the speed signs which I worked on with 4-aspect simulations, and occasionally software such as the Train Simulator Scenario Packager, all of which are available on my own website. So, and outside of that, I do general programming, modeling, and a bit of photography and music.
Wow, that sounded more scripted than me. I'm sorry. No, that was fine. It's fine.
I just want to sound a little bit formal, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's perfectly fine. No big deal. It is recording. Yes, it is. Just double checking.
Just gotta make sure.
Well, you've pretty much introduced yourself better than I was going to introduce you, so that's great. So. No, that saves me some hassle, so don't worry. That's great. I'm so glad that I'm able to do another interview with somebody, especially someone as talented as Mr. Simon here. And
yeah, I'm very glad to be here. I never thought I'd appear in an episode of the Train Sim News Show. Really hard to think.
Well, don't consider it like or consider it like getting an ASBO or getting I don't know. I don't know what's the American equivalent, a curfew. I don't know. I don't know what the right
I don't know.
No, that's fine. Okay, so you make a lot of scenarios for Train Simulator. That's something I definitely know. And a good majority of basically all of them involve UK trains, if I'm right.
Yep.
What is your fascination with the UK railway network, if I must ask?
So when I first played Train Sim, the British routes were some of the first ones I tried because the American ones got a little bit repetitive. Like, it was just desert at the time because this is obviously railworks where you only had Calhoun Pass and Castle Rock Railroad, which were both set in the Midwest, so the scenery was a bit plain. So I eventually did a bit of research on British trains on my own. And they were a lot more fascinating, in my opinion, than American trains were. Because there's like a lot of variety, more in-depth with timetabling and diagrams and stuff like that. And I think the main source, which really got me into scenario creation and British trains in general, was Real-Time Trains, which, for those who have been living under a rock, it's basically like a website that shows pretty much every single British train and on the daily and how they if they're on time or not, showing where they stopped, where they passed, etc.
Yeah, it's like a live timetable thing you can access on your web browser.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure almost everyone who's watching this probably knows what it is because it's a really important resource for both Train Sim and traveling and stuff like that.
I'll link it down in the description regardless, just because there's bound to be one person who doesn't know what it is.
Yeah, well, they're like going to be changed after they see it.
Yep. So it stems down from the fascination of like how much resources there are available to learn about him. You could get away with that.
There's a lot of public information. Like, I eventually found stuff like AB Rail, which shows vehicle numbers, Facebook groups, which can be really helpful in some ways, because there are some interesting posts that get posted in, like, Facebook groups, and Flickr as well.
Yep, I can definitely agree with Flickr. Flickr's cool-ish.
Yeah. So as I made scenarios, I eventually met a lot of friends, including yourself, with the same interest, and some of them were actually content creators themselves. Some scenarios, some more major packs, and we obviously talked about British trains, which arguably is why I know a bit more about British trains than American.
Fair enough then, that makes more sense. I should actually get away with saying this now that you are American.
Yes, I am.
Which I've always found it quite, I mean, here's the thing regarding me. I am completely baffled with American geography. So I'm one of the... When I was growing up, I loved learning about geography, even when I was in, like, secondary school, or your equivalent of high school, whatever. I'm one of, like, 10 people on the planet who knows what the capital of Australia is, because everybody says Sydney, and it's not Sydney. Do you know what the capital of Australia is?
I actually do not.
Well, there you go. It's actually, Canberra.
Canberra.
Yeah, Canberra. It's somewhere, forgot where it is, but but I at least know it's Canberra. But I mean, it's stuff like that. But let's say if someone was to ask me, no, if I ask someone where they are and they say, "Oh, I'm from the north of England," I automatically think of York, Sheffield, Doncaster. But if someone says they're from the northeast of the USA, my brain just goes complete Windows Vista and goes, right, Boston, mate, Boston? Question mark?
Yeah, Boston's there.
Okay.
It's New England, but it can also be considered Northeast. I guess one way of explaining the U.S. is in quarters. So like top left, top right, bottom left, bottom right. Top left, mountains. Literally no one lives there because Wyoming apparently exists, but it actually doesn't. Like, literally, do you know anyone who lives in Wyoming? I don't.
I can agree on you on that. I don't know anybody who lives in Wyoming either.
Yeah. Top right. The most interesting part, in my opinion, because the train system there is probably the most European, I'd say. The Northeast Corridor, 4-track main line, has both intercity and commuter services on various stretches of it, and has more than one operator. So we have Amtrak, New Jersey Transit, SEPTA, MBTA, which is the Massachusetts commuter rail.
Oh, right.
And bottom right, Disney World, period. Bottom left, California, a few cowboys here and there.
Yeah, okay. All right, then. That helps a bit. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I just decided to dumb it down a little bit for those who aren't that familiar.
It's fine, it's fine, it's fine. Well, speaking of which, then, you obviously have some knowledge of the trains in the US. What is your overall... what is your overall opinion of those trains?
So you'll probably be surprised when you hear this from me, because... I mean, you probably know a few rail fans from over here who really take pride into the rail system. I have to agree with my British friends that it's not very good in my opinion.
Really?
Like, I mean, with a president who doesn't really support the rail system and yeah, thanks Trump. Let's not get too political here though.
Please.
But even in the Northeast Corridor, where it's the most European, like I just said, like if you look on the Amtrak radar, which is I'll get a link after the interview's done, because this might be an interesting look, because it's basically like a map of where every single American train is. Well, Amtrak and
yeah, I know the Netherlands have something like that as well.
Yeah, and then they also have it for Via Rail, which is Canadian.
Oh,
but
yes.
So trains, especially in the Midwest, are almost always really late. And when I say late, I mean like over 12 hours on some
Oh my
occasions.
goodness, that's giving Northern Rail a run for their money. That's illegal.
Yeah. Like, it's basically just a massive Warsaw Accord in May 2018, but except it's not the Warsaw Accord and it's 2020. But it's mainly because the track is owned by freight, so like BNSF, Union Pacific, and obviously
they get
freight
priority.
Yup. And the Northeast Corridor is nowhere near as bad. I mean, there are still some late trains every now, but it's not 12-hour late. But the long distance services such as like New York, Miami, New York, New Orleans, you'd expect those to run more than once a day. Like obviously London and Edinburgh is between two of the most distant metropolises in the United Kingdom. Those are hourly, pretty sure.
You could get away with. I forgot how frequent it is, but for the purpose of the discussion, it's hourly. Yes.
Yeah, LNER is hourly. I don't know what Avanti's is. I think Avanti's is hourly or 2 hourly. I know
it's every 2 hours to Edinburgh, I think.
Yeah, I know they do a Glasgow one hourly because you have via Birmingham via Trent Valley, but yeah.
No, I think it's every. There's 2 an hour because there is. Oh, actually, I can't remember. Again, my memory is nowhere near as it used to be.
Yeah,
but carry on.
Definitely. So you'd expect the long distance services in here, especially in the Northeast Corridor, to be like a couple times a day, maybe like 2 or 3. But most services run only once a day. Like New York, New Orleans is once per day. Same with like New York, Charlotte, North Carolina.
That's terrible.
And yeah, I know. There are actually some services that I know that actually run through my area that run 3 times per week. And I'm not even joking when I say that. But there's a New York, Chicago, which runs via Washington, D.C., and it goes to like Cincinnati, Ohio, through Indiana, stuff like that. It's called the Cardinal.
Okay.
And I believe for a period, it was suspended between Washington and New York, so it's just Chicago, Washington. But there is a more direct service between Chicago and New York, which runs via upstate New York.
I don't know. I don't know New York. I am nowhere, but I believe I know. I'm not. Sorry, I sort of get what you mean. So basically, the services are just very, very infrequent, to say the least.
Yeah, they are. They don't run that often. You're probably better off either flying if you're going from like New York, California, or if you want to like a road trip, go by car. But I'm not denying that there are some good aspects of traveling by train. Like if you go on like the Empire Builder, which is Chicago, if I recall, Washington State, Oregon, then there's some really beautiful sites like in Montana. Like there's a couple routes from trains that cover it. Marias Pass and Stevens Pass.
Oh yeah.
And I'm gonna say this right now. The scenery in some places is absolutely stunning.
Sounds interesting. Sorry.
Yeah, they're only
They're
only available in the United States though, because BNSF is really stingy with licensing.
Yeah, exactly. It's it used to be for sale here, but it's not anymore.
Yeah, I thought it would have been available on like Amazon or something, or some other vendor, but who knows?
It's probably available somewhere. You got to just dig hard enough. Okay.
But I was gonna say there's still a little bit more that I had on my mind. But,
yeah, go ahead. There's no limit.
Yeah, from October, they're going to be cut. Most of the daily services in the Northeast Corridor are going to be cut down to like 3 times per week because obviously Amtrak's in a bit of a pickle with their finances because of recent events.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Which I absolutely won't discuss per your request.
Yeah. That's fine. But
but despite all that stuff, I still think they still have a bit of a charm to them, like a unique one. Like, for example, there are sections in New England, so like Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, where the DSL Express services, which are the flagship high-speed services. Think of it as like LNER, but American. They run at 150 miles per hour on the surface, which is faster than High-Speed 1 in Train Simulator, which is 140 miles per hour?
It's 143, but it's... Okay, high speed is faster than High Speed 1 because High Speed 1 on Train Simulator doesn't go past Ebbsfleet. Past Ebbsfleet, it's 186.
Oh, okay. Then I stand corrected then. But I did say just Train Simulator, which is between...
That is true. I don't want to be, And then again, what's it called? I always have this sort of joke to myself where you could pretty much take... I remember when they were first, Amtrak had that video of them showcasing the Avalia Liberty? Is that what its name is?
Yeah, Avalia Liberty. Yep.
Yeah, that one. And they like had a CGI footage of it when they were showcasing it, and I remember a comment distinctly on that video saying, "Dear America, congratulations on reaching the early 2000s in technology. Yours sincerely, the Dutch."
Pretty much. Admittedly, we're really behind, but then again, upgrading the Northeast Corridor would probably end in an absolute disaster. It would cost, not only would it cost like billions of dollars, but there's literally no space to upgrade it because, like, New Jersey
is quite dense.
It's really dense up north. I mean, down south, it's like farms and beaches and stuff like that.
There's nothing
but
there.
They are upgrading the beach that links New Jersey to New York, though, called the Portal Bridge, because that bridge is really, really troublesome. It's like a commuter whore for New Jersey Transit.
Oh, dear.
But I actually, speaking of the Avalia Liberty, I actually got a picture of it on test. Like, one of the sets ran down from Philly to Washington. And
I remember seeing that on Facebook. You shared that.
Yeah, it was my profile. It's my profile picture on there right now. But that was a good day. It was hot, but I got to just chill out, enjoy some of the fresh air, and just see that train. It's like capturing history because it's still a prototype in a way.
Yeah, it definitely looked like a prototype considering the shape of the coaches versus the shape of the power car.
Oh yeah, I knew you'd comment about that.
Sorry, it's so glaring. How could some designer who's paid many dollars take a few steps back and go, "Yep"?
Or it could just be 2 designers. You never know.
Oh my goodness, you outplayed. Yes.
Yeah, but. Continuing on with the charm, though, I really like the rail operations in New Jersey in particular, because I've been there multiple times. I actually met one of my British friends at Hamilton Station when he actually came over to New York for a vacation.
Very nice.
So we watched some of the trains there. There was a lot, even though it was a Saturday. So you had like Amtrak, New Jersey Transit, other bits and whatnot.
It makes sense for it to be frequent in that area if it's a bit of a metropolis.
Yeah, very nice blended commuter and high speed. So it's kind of like, I'm trying to think of the best way to compare it in terms of Britain, but I would think compare it to like London Euston and Milton Keynes in a way, but slightly less frequent.
I barely know anything about it, so I'll take your word.
It's basically just Avanti West Coast and London Northwestern, but less frequent.
Yeah,
both.
And not double-decker trains.
Yep, and I also really like AM7s, even though they don't operate on the line anymore. They're all ACS 64s now.
The AM7s are the ones that are. I see how my knowledge of American trains are nil. It's those older boxy ones, right?
Yeah, I'll send a picture of it real quick. They look like toasters. They're nicknamed toasters.
Oh, that one. Okay, I recognize that one. Yep. That's fine. I'll put it in the video visual so people don't get confused.
Yeah, I also like HHP8s, but not as much because they're really unreliable. They only served like 12 years with Amtrak. I think they still operate with Maryland's commuter rail, but not with Amtrak.
I remember the HHP8 from MSTS, but that's about it.
Yep.
It was.
They look like Estella's, but with an extra cab and not as high speed.
And obviously not as reliable. So, well, getting slightly back on track towards Train Sim, not to. Basically, I wanted to ask. Now that I at least know that you like both UK and US trains, what trains and routes do you drive? Do you like to drive on Train Sim the most?
Well, that's a bit of a hard one because I really like driving many routes. Not as much as others, but yeah. I think my favorite route in particular has to be West Coast Main Line over Shap because I think even for like a 6-year-old route, the scenery still really holds up, and it's fun to drive with like an 86 or 87, which very smooth transition. Those are my favorite trains to drive in Train Simulator because the tap changer system, it's completely different from the conventional system that you see in like other locomotives. Mm-hmm. It's fun to just drive it over a couple summits on the West Coast Main Line. And yeah, and they're also really flexible as well. So you have like the cross-country services that run to like London Paddington, the West Coast Main Line services, Freightliner, Greater Anglia, not Greater Anglia,
Anglia.
Or Anglia Railway.
Yeah, Anglia Railways. Yeah.
Took me a little bit there.
No, that's fine. I don't blame you. I like the 86 as well as a train. It's all right. So, look, I have a bit of a. I've kept this a bit of a secret, but I've actually been in Les Ross's 86 in the past.
Oh, nice.
When I say that, we're talking 2 years ago, I think. I can't remember the exact date, but I didn't bother telling anybody because I just decided to keep it a bit of a secret. I think it's nice. He's definitely kept it in such a really good shape. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I mean, it looks. You wouldn't be able to think that it's from like the 60s and 70s if you look
65,
at it.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, the same could go with HSTs, sort of. I mean, it's hard to think that they ran for 40, 50, going 50 years.
Indeed.
Like you would think that they would have been replaced like 10, 20 years ago because they were sort of
out of date.
They were in the best shape, and there are newer technologies like tilting or stuff for passengers. That
is kind of expected, though. We do like what's it called? We do like to sort of what's that name? It was on the tip of my tongue. Where the United Kingdom likes to sort of refurbish and to sort of I can't remember the word. But basically we like to try and keep the trains running for as long as possible, unless it's a diesel hydraulic.
And it does make sense. Like you don't want to spend way too much money on trains like every 5 years.
Exactly.
And there's like some trains still have life in them in a way. I wouldn't be able to name which ones do and don't. But the point sort of still stands. Like, the HSTs, they still had a lot of life. Like, you could just, like, they replaced the Valenta engines with the MTUs, and they ran for, like, at least 10 years.
Yeah, Life Extension, that was the one that was the name that was in my head right now. Yeah, Life Extension.
Yeah, and they're also obviously way quieter, so and more green. I don't know how to put it.
Fuel efficient? Question mark.
More efficient. Yeah.
I'm glad that the Valentas are gone. They were just way too loud. when I was younger. When I used to see them a few times at Reading. They were just way too bleeding loud. So I'm glad they're gone.
Especially for really sound sensitive people. Like I'm sort of sound sensitive. Like I really don't like loud noises. But if I don't expect loud noises, I don't like them. Like for example, like a fire alarm or loud static. I mean, if I expect it, then not much of an issue. But I generally do not like loud noises.
I mean, the same thing. It's the reason why I at least prefer the VP 185 because it's a lot more gradual instead of it just being constant ear rape.
Yeah, the VP 185 is my favorite engine as well.
Ooh, welcome to the club.
It's still characteristic of an HST with the scream, the clag and whatnot, but it's not as loud as a Valenta. Because I mean, I like the MTUs as well. But
yeah, so do I.
It just feels a bit weird for it to be like on a 1976 built train.
It sounds more like a boat.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, I get why they upgraded to that because it's quieter, it's more efficient. It'll extend the life of the HSTs a little bit more.
That's true. That's fair. That's understandable. So, are there any other projects or things? Ow! I put my tongue.
I was gonna say. I had a little bit more. Sorry about that.
No, go ahead. That's great. That's a great segue. Carry on.
Just something brief. I also enjoy driving the 40, as in the AP Railwright one, because I really like the way the Whistler sounds in both IRL and train sim. I don't really know what the 64-bit glitch is. But it apparently had something to do with sounds, but I never had it.
Oh, you lucky sod! It's like,
at least I don't think I have it.
the sounds basically on the 64-bit, the 64-bit bug is that the sounds loop.
Oh.
When you apply the accelerate, when you apply the throttle, so it gets to I don't know, like its top revving range, but then it'll just loop up again.
I don't recall having that issue then.
Then you're a lucky sod, that's why.
It sounds insanely natural. It sounded insanely natural even in 64-bit. But I also really like driving to 68 because, you know, the way it works, like I kind of like the way you have to brake, apply throttle and whatnot, and it sounds really nice once again.
I definitely say that the 68 is the most massive air quotes American in terms of operating because you got the dynamic brake. Which is used a lot in lots of locos in America.
Yeah.
If I can think, yeah. I like driving the 68 as well. It's quite fun and it sounds genuinely nice as well.
Very flexible as well.
That is true. That is very true.
Like you see them on like rail tours, short sets of wary lines, flash trains, etc. Very nice stuff.
Great. I'm glad that you like. You have a good taste in the sort of trains that you like to drive in Train Sim. So are there any other projects or things that you want to work on in Train Sim?
Well, nothing too big at the moment, I must say. I mean, I still have a few scenarios just being built, some on the back burner.
Fair enough, that's expected.
Like, I'm going to keep these projects, somewhat of a secret until I feel like they're ready.
Yeah, of course, that's a very sensible thing to do instead of jumping to the gun.
I don't really like announcing things really early on because if I cancel it or if it's delayed,
people get upset.
People get disappointed and stuff. That's why I also don't like working at deadlines, like some developers do. Developers.
Yeah, I completely understand that. I'm one who is in I don't know the meaning of deadline, as noticed many times to my viewers.
Yeah, I don't really like deadlines, short or long. Short, it's obviously very stressful to work and cram everything in like a couple days. Long, I mean, I'm decent at time management, but I just don't like having to think of a deadline for like 3 weeks, a month, or 3 weeks or a month. It's just like, when am I going to do this? When am I going to do that? When am I going to do this?
I can understand. You wouldn't call yourself complacent. Regarding
I like to work at my own pace on my own time.
Fair enough then. So you just don't like the looming over deadline and stuff.
No, I don't.
Nah, I don't blame you. Have you ever sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
I was just gonna say something about another thing I was working on, but were you gonna say something?
It was mainly gonna be like asking regarding like modelling if you were considering to model something like or if I can think. I was mainly gonna ask if you were gonna consider modelling stuff like signals After the success of the speed packs the speed sign pack that you and For Aspect worked on, which are incredible. I love them so much.
Yeah. No, it's good. I mean, it's really good to hear that people enjoy them. Like, I mean, we've gotten a bit of a criticism about it, but the constructive criticism I appreciate. It's basically what me and For Aspect thrive on, and we're happy to improve on the signage and whatnot, because I was considering doing some TSR signage for the pack, and maybe a few other unusual bits, like maybe the Tiny War Metro signage, and also some user-requested signs. But I don't know if that's going to be made a reality anytime soon, because obviously For Aspect's busy with his own projects, and I'm busy with my own projects.
Exactly, yeah.
But I mean, for the TSR, there's still the Fastline stuff. But I was thinking, this should probably be in like its own pack, so you don't have to go hunting the internet for it.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Probably a few variants, but who knows when I'll actually somewhat get to it. But For Aspect has really gotten into modeling himself. Like, obviously, as you've probably seen, he's done King's Lynn, and it looks spectacular. He showed me like details of it, and it looks amazing.
Yeah, I've seen them as well. They look pretty good.
He's been in modeling for I think For Aspect's been modeling for about 2-3 months now, and the amount of progress he's made in terms of modeling and texturing as well is crazy.
It is. I'm really glad to see that people are, starting to learn how to do their own stuff like this. I can only do basic reskins and stuff. I don't know how to model, and I don't think I'll learn how to, because it's just it's a new skill that I don't feel confident in starting just yet.
That's fair. I mean, there are a few tutorials on YouTube that are really good, and there's one actually dedicated to Train Sim, made by Matthew Wilson for making nameplates, and it really helped me out. And I mean, I also got some resources and some actual teaching from a few friends of mine who also model, and that's how I got into it.
Fair enough, then. I guess that makes sense. I'll have a think about it. But
was gonna say, I was considering making a few nameplates for trains that haven't been made yet, and I feel like they should have been made. But really depends when motivation strikes again. Really depends on the source and how good the source pictures are. I found source pictures and the list of nameplates for a number of trains, but yeah.
Okay, well, that's not exactly too ambitious.
Again, an over main secret.
Fair enough. If that's the case, I won't ask you what unit then. Or Loco.
Yeah, well, it would be more like a series of Locos that are somewhat similar.
Alright, then. Fair enough.
More to come in due time if any updates come.
Yep, that's fine. I'm perfectly fine with that. So, at the moment, what are you up to IRL then, in real life?
Well, I'm probably just chilling at home. There's not really much of a reason for me to go outside because obviously recent events, everything's just canceled and whatnot, which is a bit of a shame, but there's still some good of it. Like, I met a bunch of great friends over the past couple of months because obviously we're all inside. More time on social media like Discord, Facebook, etc. So I've actually been getting into game development in the Unity engine.
Oh.
I haven't gone that far yet. Like, I'm getting used to the editor, but I feel like it would be a good way to test my coding and modeling skills.
Fascinating.
Because, like, I want to get into something more generalized, something that's not Train Sim, because I obviously can't do Train Sim for a living.
Oh, no,
because the platform's gonna die eventually, as unfortunate as it is to think. But
yeah, I agree. It's gonna die soon.
I think it's a valuable skill to hold coming into the future, especially when I apply to a full-time job. Yeah. Excuse me. Aside from that, I've really been gaming. Like, I bought a game and I've really got into a game called Tower Unite. I think the best way of putting it, it's Gmod Tower, if you know what that is.
No, I don't know what Gmod Tower is. I haven't played that mode.
So it's based, I guess it's like Gary's Mod about the sandbox and VR chat about the VR. So it's sort of like a social game with a few mini games like mini golf, bowling, a casino. I've played it with a ton of friends over the past couple of weeks. I've invested about 50 hours in it. It's really that fun.
That's almost as many hours as I put into Nier Automata. That's great.
Yeah, like my friend, like we go bowling. My friend's dressed up as H.H. Gregg. I'm dressed up as Latios from Pokemon, and another friend's dressed up as Homer Simpson in a car. It's really fun. It's really fun.
Sounds cool.
It's really easy to put time into, like I just said. And I've also been playing a few other games like Super Hot. A new game of Super Hot came out. It's all right. Not as story-rich as the previous, unfortunately, but still some good aspects of it, like the mechanics.
I've heard of Super Hot, but I haven't played it. I've just heard of it in passing and saw like the odd bit of footage. But
I really do like the concept of Super Hot. It's just really, the first game was way too short. I completed it like about 3 hours, and considering it's a $25 game, it's heavily overpriced.
Mm-hmm.
But I recommend buying it on a sale if you're into FPSs and stuff like that.
Fair enough.
The new one has more time, but it's really repetitive. Like, it's just the same 32 stages in random order over and over and over again with like different enemies and weapons, etc.
Oh, how fun!
Yeah, I mean it's not too bad. Like, new mechanics, like the new weapons and other stuff makes it a bit more fun. But again, it's a bit overpriced. It's $25 again. But I got it for free because the developers gave every single owner of the original Super Hot the new game for free. That's a really generous move. But if I'm honest, not the greatest sequel out there.
Fair enough. Then, well, that's still at least some generosity from the devs.
Yeah. So. And I did mention this to you earlier on Messenger. I've actually been doing a lot of SimSig, which is a British signaling simulation game.
Oh yes.
It sounds really niche and weird, but I find it really fun because, like, having to manage bigger simulations like let me think of one, Exeter. So that covers like Tiverton parts, like Taunton to Taunton Ness, I think, with the Barnstaple, Exmouth, Honiton branches, stuff like that. You really have a lot to manage. Like, you have to make sure all the trains go the right way, and sometimes there can be these sorts of faults, like track circuit failures, signal failures, points failures that can really impact how the game is played, as well as trains being delayed by stations.
Exactly. Yeah, I've played it before with my friends. But here's the thing: my friend loves SimSig. When I introduced it to him, I tried it and. It's alright. I know the appeal, it's just not for me personally.
Yeah, it's not really a game for everyone, but...
Yeah. But it's definitely not bad. That's one thing for sure.
Like, during the current quarantine, me and I think like 7, 8 other friends were playing a massive multiplayer session on 3 bridges, which is basically East Croydon, Norwood Junction to Brighton. With
Ooh, lovely, delicious.
It's crazy. We played like I think a whole day, almost a whole day of it. I think we made it to like 8 p.m. because that's when everything is just ECS moves.
Yeah.
But it was so fun because there were like different failures and whatnot, like track circuit failures that occurred in, like, for example, the quarry lines, and obviously everything had to be routed by it as well.
That just sounds like a normal day.
And yeah, basically. And another funny thing is that my friend. The only panel he had was Reigate, so it was just Reigate Red Hill, and we were pranking him by putting a bunch of fake head codes, saying like, "Hey, you have a bunch of trains in your area. You have like 1 Romeo 01, one Romeo 03, 1 Romeo 05," and it caught him off guard.
Oh man, I was just actually going to say something similar to that. That surely having 7 to 8 people playing one map just. Invites sabotage in some way, shape, or form.
Like, I played a few smaller games with like 3 friends. Like, we did London Liverpool Street, and Chain with West Anglia, which is basically all of the Lee Valley lines, I think, plus the West Anglia main line to Audley End and Stansted Airport.
Oh yeah,
that was fun. That was really fun.
Well, there's barely any passing places on that route, so.
Well, I think the biggest screw ups I had were trains get randomly looped at, like, I'm trying to think of the names because I don't exactly remember. Like, Broxbourne, Bishop's Stortford, etc. It's really weird. I kept screwing it up, and I had to keep routing trains 5 to slow. That would pat. But I eventually got used to it. It's basically the case for every single simulation because they all have their quirks to it. Like, I'm trying to think of some unique ones. Like Exeter has token systems. Paisley's just huge. So it's basically the entire Ayrshire coastline and Inverclyde lines. And I managed to do that once by myself, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Like, I can do some of the bigger simulations on my own. Like, I did Central Scotland, which is Glasgow Queen Street to Linlithgow, I think it is, via both Cumbernauld, Falkirk, Grahamston, and Falkirk High. And it also includes Dunblane to Larbert. It's huge. I can send you a few screenshots if I can find some. And you can put those on.
What time period is this?
This is 2020, so there were like a quarter.
Oh, aren't you lucky?
Yeah, I wasn't rated to like 1994 when there were like 5 billion semaphores and stuff like that. Let me see if I can find it in my screenshots folder, and I'll send you some. But you can continue talking. It shouldn't take too long.
Yeah, that's fine. No worries. I was actually going to ask, what are your aspirations for the future? Because you did mention something about, you know, you're starting. You're messing about with like Unity and stuff. So, would you be interested in being like a game designer in the future, for example?
I'm not too certain of what I want my occupation to be, honestly. I mean, I'm really into like I said, game development, and that could possibly be a possible job field. Maybe possibly web design, because I have my own website, and I'm actually in a university class right now that focuses on that. And as well as possibly a bit of a general utility design, because like that's basically what the background changer and scenario packager are. Utilities for trains that make your life much easier.
Yes, I can agree.
Yeah, I was going to say I just found some of the screenshots if you want to put those on your video. It's huge. It spans both of my monitors, and it was still somehow manageable on like 1.5 times speed.
Goodness gracious me.
But, like, I tell you, it's way easier than it could look in some areas.
Massive.
But
I can't even fit that on my own monitor, unless I make it like a post box or something.
I have a 1920 and a 1600 setup, so I basically just have to scroll fully once, and it makes it easier to monitor, to like just watch.
I forgot what my resolution on this thing is. It's probably something obtuse, but it's still fair enough. Then. Carry on.
Other than the computer science stuff, which I think will be my main career, I also want to get more into train photography. Once I have some more time, I hope to practice and see where I go, because you never know where you go. Because my friend, who's about the same age as me, one of his pictures was actually nominated to a Rail magazine.
Oh yeah, I saw it. I saw it, Mr. I forgot who it was, but yeah, I think I know who you were talking about. I've seen that stuff like that happen. It's quite cool, honestly.
Yeah, like obviously I live near some of the busiest American train lines. They're not as busy as British, of course, but they are busy, and they can be interesting at times. Like especially during Thanksgiving holiday, which is like late November, early December.
Okay.
The Sunday after Thanksgiving, because so many people are traveling with train, Amtrak hire commuter stock and commuter trains to do long trips from New York to Washington, D.C. It sounds horrible because it is. Like, having to ride on Aero 3s, which are basically New Jersey Transit's EMUs, which keep in mind are from the 70s and look like this, except considerably longer.
Oh my! I think I know which one. Oh, good grief! For me, that sounds like the equivalent of we need to get as many people into Edinburgh for some reason. We need to get as many people to Edinburgh as possible from London. I know, we'll use those lines of paces we found just lying around.
Oh yeah, it's basically like the 90s when they did additional expresses for like football games, and I know they still do some. I don't know, like today they still do a few, but it's not really as interesting. Like 2 or 3 years ago. I saw a picture on Flickr of an 86, I think it was 86-101, the Caledonian Sleeper liveried one, hauling a bunch of Mark IIs on an Euston Liverpool South Parkway football express. And then there's still some interesting stuff like this that end up on special express services. That's 2 153s and a 156. I don't recall the location, but it was somewhere.
Neither do I. But to be honest, a formation like that isn't exactly not. Isn't exactly unbelievable. I've seen a pair of 153s every once in a while. Cruel, but I've seen it.
Yeah, I mean, like the '90s, the early 2000s are basically my main interest in British Railways because lots of interesting things happen. They're somewhat interesting now, but I don't find the current operations to be as interesting because, as one of my friends said in the Discord voice chat ages ago, the further in time you go, as in forward, the less interesting trains get, and I think that's a statement I fully agree with.
I don't know if I fully agree with that, because
Like, I guess
I know what it means. Like, I know what you get to getting at by that. There are just a few trains that I still find interesting in this day and age. I mean, for example, I don't really care much for the Class 333, but I do, in a way, care about the like the Class 230. That's an interesting train. It's a bit...
Oh yeah, that's very interesting.
Well, it's an interesting fire wood-burning stove, as it is.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's something like that. Like,
The Class 230s are an interesting concept I came to find because they're basically underground trains converted to run on the Marston Vale line. And I think they're running certain TFW services as well, like Crewe Chester.
I don't know what services, but I know that at least one is finished in testing or something like that. I can't remember.
It's going to be really interesting to see those on the Blinded Fistiniog line, and I'm very surprised I pronounced that right. But, yeah, keeping in mind the friend who told me that quote, which is somewhat agreeable, like you said, is a huge fan of steam locomotives.
Then I think I know who it is.
I don't think you would know him because he's somewhat secluded. I mean, he's in the community, but doesn't really...
Then I don't know who he is. You have got me. You have defeated me in this war once again, sir, and I'm not happy.
But yeah, those are pretty much my aspirations for the future.
Fair enough, then. So let's get on to other hobbies. One thing that actually did catch my attention when you first answered it earlier, when you were introducing yourself, is that you compose music.
No, I don't compose music, but I play it.
That's better. Okay.
But I am interested in somewhat getting into that field at some point.
Fair enough.
I don't know when, but I know a bit about music theory. But to answer your question, I am a trombonist. I'm getting into bass guitar, hopefully some other instruments further down the line. I enjoy listening to 80s music, so like bands like Iron Maiden, Europe, Men at Work.
Prog rock?
As well as a bit of 90s and alternative.
Alternative rock, oh good man.
As well as a large pool of video game and movie soundtracks.
Yep, I know that at least.
It's hard to choose a favorite video game soundtrack. I mean, I really like Undertale's soundtrack. Besides Megalovania, there's a lot of good songs in it that are really cleverly made. It just sound good in general.
Yeah, I can actually agree with that. Mr. Toby Fox is an amazing composer and video game designer.
Yeah, and that's I think one of the main aspects of what made Undertale a really immersive RPG. And I really wish I could just forget what happened.
So you can replay it.
And replay it again. Yeah. I finished 2 of the endings. I did Neutral and Pacifist, I think. I was a bit too nervous to do Genocide because the game is designed so you form, you get some sort of empathy for the characters. And I think that's a really good way of designing a game because having that sort of emotion with characters is, it makes the game even more immersive.
Indeed, I can actually completely agree with you because I wouldn't say what's it called I love listening to video game music. Like for example, in my opinion, the game with the best video game soundtrack, at least in my current opinion, is Nier Automata. The soundtrack in that game is incredible, and it has 26 different endings. The game, and
oh wow.
In fairness, most of them are joke endings, but they're still funny. I mean, without spoiling, one of my favourite endings for the game is at the beginning of one story, you can basically skive off, and it says, and this character was never seen from again.
Wow. I've heard of the game, but I haven't actually seen any footage of it, although it might be something I can look into.
Please do. It's basically like an action RPG, so basically think of Final Fantasy VII Remake, basically that.
Never played Final Fantasy, although I've obviously heard of it. But I'll definitely take a look.
or Final Fantasy 15, if you've seen footage of that.
Yeah. I also like some of the Pokemon soundtracks. Like I like Pokemon Black 2's and White 2's soundtracks, like Driftveil City.
I will never ever get tired of Driftveil City. I love Driftveil City.
It's become such a massive meme in times, and I love it.
I know.
Although I do like the soundtrack of Gen 3 and its remake as well.
Oh, Gen 3 is good. I love Gen 3.
Yeah. Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire really did justice to the soundtrack and the storyline. I don't have my 3DS doesn't really work anymore because I was thinking of getting back into it and replaying the story because I pretty much forgot what happened in it. But
I think the story was alright, but I just love the music. What songs do I really like? I like the gym theme, the battling the wild encounter theme, rival theme. More in the original GBA, in that one. On the legendary fighting Primal Groudon and Primal Kyogre, that song is god tier.
Yeah, Victory Road was pretty much the only song that resonated in my mind because it's just really well made, especially in the remake, where again, it did the original Gen 3 soundtrack so much justice.
I'm guessing because of this Pokemon Gen 3 is the reason why you're a trombonist.
No, it's not the reason I'm a trombonist. I mean, it definitely influenced me to look up music and play it on my own time, but yeah, I really like the instrumentation in it as well.
Fair
Lots
enough.
of trumpets.
Fair enough. Well, you do play what's it called? TF2 as well, don't you?
Yeah, I've played it quite a bit, but I don't really play it as much as I used to. Like, I'm not denying that it's a fun game. I invested in a lot of other games, and obviously with the
hackers,
the whole chatbot hackers etc. thing, it's sort of messed up with the experience a little bit.
Don't blame you.
I still go back to it every now and then. I'd be happy to, possibly play a little bit with you if you want.
I'll consider in the future, but it's definitely not a no. I'd still like playing TF2 a fair bit. Because I think the hackers aren't as bad as they were a few months ago, but they are still pretty bad, honestly.
Yeah, they're still rampant, and Valve pretty much just put duct tape on the issue by making it so certain users, like I think free-to-plays
can't use the chat anymore.
Yeah, which is a bit unfortunate, because, I mean, it would make gameplay a bit harder, but I think it sort of works as a fix, because most hackers are probably free-to-play.
Well, yeah, because most accounts are just throwaways, so you can just, if your account gets banned, you can just make a new one with a new fake email.
Yeah, exactly. Stuff like 10-minute mail exists, and
exactly
really
that. no punishment whatsoever. No, I was actually going to quickly ask, who do you normally main in TF2? I'm trying to see.
Heavy and Soldier mainly, although I do play a bit of Scout, and I've been trying to get into Demoman.
Oh, welcome. That's interesting. I normally main either Demoman, Engineer, or Medic. Actually, I'm one of the 10 people on the entirety of the entirety of the world who actually likes playing Medic.
You like playing Medic,
yes.
But do you like when people just spam E?
No! I named my strange Kritzkrieg. Please press E one more time, please. Yeah.
I mean, in Man vs. Machine, I play as Engineer.
Oh, so do I. It's just because I can't be bothered to play.
Yeah, it makes it way easier. Like I was playing Ghost Town with a friend of mine. A couple months back.
Wave 666.
Yup.
Oh my goodness.
The hardest one. And,
you sad man.
We couldn't get beyond halfway through, but still got a lot of money and whatnot, and it was still enjoyable.
Fair enough. That's.
We both played as NGs.
No, I mean, yeah, I like playing Medic. I like playing Engineer. I have. I'm one of. What's it called? I have a strange gunslinger because I'm sad.
I have a strange Thompson that I got from a friend of mine.
That's pretty good. But I actually went on Scrap TF. Have you heard of that site?
Yeah, I actually use it quite regularly.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I looked up on Scrap TF just to see how much my strange gunslinger is, and it's 38 keys.
Oh goodness me! Well, time to get a few thoughts of that then.
No, I'm gonna just keep it. I'm gonna hold on to it. Maybe in a few more weeks it might be worth 40 keys. Because you've seen how bad the inflation. Because one key is now worth 50 something refined. It's insane.
Yeah, crazy.
I know. But yeah,
insane.
I was actually watching a TED Talk video regarding the TF2 economy. It's quite interesting, honestly. So,
Do you have a link?
I do have a link, not on me, but I will link it to you after this interview and in the description.
Yep, I might take a look at it myself, because, I mean, TED Talks can be quite interesting at times. I mean, when we watch them in school, it's boring, but when you watch whatever you want, it's fun.
That's a good indicator of sort of where we are in the world, considering I have never been to when I was back in school, we never watched a TED Talk. And the way you made it out, as if that is the norm in your classes.
Well, it's not very normal, but we do watch them every now and then. We have to answer a few questions and whatnot. It's not the ideal schooling experience, to say the least.
Not really, no. Not to say that they're not interesting, but what's it called? I think there's honestly better ways to teach people than put a video up, watch it, and then tell them what happened this, what happened that. And then in fairness, to be honest, when I was training for work, oh my god, that when you mentioned that reminded me of when I was training at my work to get my job. We had to do a small test to operate. So I'll give you like an example question, okay? Sally lives in a blue house. She drives a red car that drives on the green street. What colour is her house?
Blue? I don't know.
See, it would be questions like that, and and you're allowed to reread it, and people got it wrong.
Jeez. I was sort of playing half attention because I was writing something down, but yeah, I was just writing on what I was going to say next. Sorry, but it just sounded a bit confusing anyway, because it's a lot of information to just take in.
Yeah, that's expected. So we've gone through pretty much everything I can think of. Specifically.
I was gonna say I'm more or less a hands-on learning guy. I really hate reciting information like on tests.
Oh yeah. So we're not. I can agree on you on that. I don't like that.
I don't like biology, as in like the sciences field, but my biology class, which I took in high school, it was completely hands-on, completely independent learning, with the teacher really coming in to help you out. And I really liked the way the class was laid out, because it was simple. You could do stuff on somewhat your own pace. I mean, there were still deadlines, but it was generally like every week, not like every class. Which,
all right.
It's stressful, but I did enjoy the way my biology class was taught.
And also the teacher makes a big difference as well, because I loathed my what's it called, design and technology, I think is what we call it here. I can't remember, or graphic design. It was one of the two. I loathed my DT teacher. He had the most unlikable personality just of everybody out of all the teachers I met, and he basically had a sort of holier than thou mentality, and he wouldn't really help people who were struggling.
That's exactly how my design engineering teacher was quite a few years back. Like, obviously design engineering is a field which I really am fascinated by, because I'm a tech guy. And it was something I wanted to learn more about, and I think I did learn about it, but my teacher was awful. He was really sarcastic. He basically, the sort of person who sees a hand in the water drowning and just high-fives it.
Sorry, I wasn't expecting a laugh.
I actually have the comic, which basically does that. That's the first thing that came to mind. Like, someone needs help, and then you just.
Hang on, I think I know. Oh yeah, that one. Yes.
Yeah. I feel like it's just so applicable to so many situations.
Goodness me.
But that wasn't exactly the most enjoyable class. The ones I've had a few years later with different teachers, different story, but I did really like the teachers anyway.
No, I don't blame you. Well, that means, I think with all that sorted out, we have one last question, which is the mystery question to put you on the hot. Here it is. Your chosen deity has awarded you one train in Train Simulator to the same level as the Armstrong Powerhouse Class 319. What is it?
Wow. I was not expecting that, honestly. That's a hard question.
Exactly. That's why it's the mystery question.
was gonna say you're a little bit echoey, by the way.
Pardon?
I'm hearing echo from you, by the way.
Oh, darn it.
No worries, no worries.
How about now?
I think it's sorted now. Yep. That's gonna require a bit of thinking, so I hope you're ready to cut out some portions of it.
Oh, relax. I mean, I can I can at least sort of trim it down on the basis that it can't be a train that's already in the game. So the pacer, it has to be something new.
Oh, it has to be something completely new.
Yep.
Oh boy.
That makes it easy. So it can't be the pacer, for example.
It can't be the pacer. Yeah. I mean, one thing which I would quite like would be some of the newer trains. Like I think the one which I think most people go with, and I would go with, the Zero Cities, like the Class 700, 707, 717.
Oh, did I not see that? Oh, that's a coming. Daniel said.
I mean, it's really versatile. Like you obviously have the Thameslink route, East Coast Main Line, London to Brighton,
South, London to thingy, Portsmouth.
Yeah,
because it runs on the suburban lines there.
Yeah. But I was gonna say, what also would be nice, I think, would be the 334, the 385, because I feel like the Scotland puzzle is a little bit incomplete at the moment because we don't have like a 334, a 385, etc.
Oh, I can think of quite a few trains that I'm missing in Scotland.
We don't have the 318 either, but I'm anticipating that it might be coming in the closer future because obviously, the 317's in development and the 318 is quite similar.
Yeah, to be honest, someone could easily make a reskin of it. If Mr. Guter of Bahnhof doesn't do it, somebody will. Yeah,
I mean you can easily. I mean, if he does the 317-6, you could easily make the older 318 out of it.
Exactly.
Well, unless you're clever enough and can model the new front and like the destination board and whatnot, then that'll probably be a separate pack. But I would love to have the Zero City in trains and done to the standard of the Master Key 319. It's a bit funny that you say I say Master Key because Jordy modeled it.
That's true. I just said it as a sort of what people will more recognize it as.
Yeah, it's a bit funny you call it the AP. You say the AP 319 because that would have been the first thing that I would have in mind when I hear a high quality train, because it is one of the highest quality trains in train sim, arguably.
Yeah, and it doesn't potato-fry my PC.
Although, if I had a little bit more thought into the question, I would have said the Master Key 460 because that train's an absolute godsend in terms of how much is included in it.
It's detailed. It's detailed. It's definitely detailed. I think it's okay. I just get so much lag from it on my end for some reason, but the 319 I don't.
Yeah, I mean I don't get that much lag from it. I mean there was a sound issue that was patched, but and some of the features of the 460 are a bit gimmicky, like the MCB trip thingies in the back, which you don't really touch. But the amount of effort that was put into it, especially since it's a train that has been running for about 8 years, it's incredible.
Yeah, definitely. I can at least agree to that. There's definitely effort put in. It's not like crap or anything.
Yeah, it's one of the trains that have almost 100% effort put in, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah, fair enough then. That's great. So I think that calls an end to the interview then, at least.
Yeah, was a pleasure speaking to you, Daniel.
It was a pleasure speaking to you, Mr. Simon. Thank you so much, and for coming along, and I wish you the very best in your future endeavors.
Yep, I wish you the best as well, Daniel. And I think we should call it then. So talk to you later.
Talk to you later. Thank you very much, everybody else, for watching, and I'll speak to you guys next time. Goodbye.